Shanti's phone lay face down on the kitchen table, and there was a name I loved so much shining above her old tattoo. My hands tremble when I remember the night I found her phone. 2 years, 870 lies, and one friendship turned to ruins. The truth about betrayal is that it never goes away. It smiles at you with the face of your best friend. What do you do when the last people you die for write your death sentence? I'm 27 years old, and I need to get this off my chest because I have no one to talk to about it in real life. I'm shaking as I write this, but it doesn't matter. I'm dating a girl. Let's call her Amy. She's 24. We've been together for 2 years. I first saw her at a trendy cafe near my work. I work at a finance company. I won't name it, just in case she reads this. Amy was working there as a barista during her break, studying for a master's degree in marketing or something else ridiculous. I was sure she wasn't for me. She had a perfect smile and remembered all the customers' orders. I ordered a large caramel latte with extra coffee. Yeah, nothing special, I know, LOL. By the time I got to the counter, she was already making my order. While she was making the drinks, we chatted about nothing in particular. I talked about my boring job, she talked about her classes and her daily routine. My family is quite wealthy. My parents run a huge investment company in the city center and have instilled in me since childhood that I must uphold the family honor. I even went to a private school and got into a good university to get a degree in finance, but, I took a job with the competition to prove that I could achieve everything on my own. My dad wasn't thrilled about that, LOL. Amy wasn't like the girls I usually encountered at my parents' lavish business parties. Those girls were always trying to impress my family or use me for their own purposes. But Amy was never inattentive when I spoke, remembered insignificant details I had mentioned weeks ago, and seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say. She never hid the fact that she came from an ordinary family. Her father was a high school teacher, and her mother worked in a dental office. She worked at a coffee shop to pay for graduate school and moonlighted in internet marketing. I really admired her determination. We had a little tradition. I would pick her up before the morning rush, around 8:15, and she always had time to chat, even if she had a lot of work to do. She would complain about crazy customers or her strict professor, and I would tell her about my boss, who was obsessed with comic books and PowerPoint presentations. Looking back, I realize I should have paid attention to how interested she was in my circle of friends, mostly my best friend Jake, who is 26. She always asked if he was coming over or raved about how cool it was that he was opening his own gym. At the time, I took it as friendly and supportive, but man, was I blind. Jake and I have a history. We've known each other since high school. I played football with him. He was very good, and I mostly sat on the bench. We ended up going to the same college, became roommates for 4 years, and were practically brothers. He's one of those people who makes friends easily, very outgoing, always planning something, very charming when he wants to be. Jake got a little weird when I first told him about Amy. He wouldn't stop asking me to go on a date with her, saying she was perfect, even offering to help plan the dates. I thought he was just being a good friend, helping out a clumsy guy. 3 months went by, and I finally asked Amy out on a date. I was very nervous and had prepared a whole speech in advance, but instead I blurted out, "Would you like to have dinner sometime?" Like an idiot when she handed me my coffee. I said yes before I even realized it. Jake helped me arrange dinner at a beautiful restaurant that one of his gym clients had given him. Amy looked really happy that night. That's why it hurt so much. She was the perfect girlfriend. She would send me nice messages in the morning, surprise me with lunch on tough days, remember important dates. She never even looked at other guys. Except Jake, but I'll copy him on this. After we started dating, things moved really fast. We liked each other right away. She liked listening to me talk about my job, or at least she pretended to. She asked me to translate financial terms for her and was impressed when I explained complex market mechanisms to her. It just occurred to me that she was probably doing that for her scam. Jake was strange from the start. Eventually, he started coming to the coffee shop too often when Amy was at work, always saying he was meeting clients, but hanging out at her counter, talking about how he needed to go to the gym, telling her about his favorite foods in boring but not offensive conversations. I always liked that my girlfriend got along so well with my best friend. Yeah, I was a fool. I missed one warning sign about 3 months in when I had a party at my place. I went to the kitchen to get something to eat, and when I came back, Jake was showing Amy a workout video on his phone. They were standing side by side, and she was completely transfixed by the screen. When they saw me, they ran away, and Amy suddenly started acting cheerful and talking loudly, trying to hide her excitement. Jake started inviting us to everything: movie nights, the gym, the beach, with reasons we couldn't refuse. Amy was so excited about these outings, always asking Jake if he liked what she was wearing or if he would be impressed by the meal she had prepared. I thought she was just trying to show off to my friends. Amy started going to Jake's gym around the 6th month, saying she just wanted to help Jake with his business. She got a discount because she was my girlfriend. She would come in at odd hours, very early in the morning or late at night, saying that was the only time she could make it. Jake, for his part, showered her with almost constant questions about her shape, her diet, and so on. One day, a colleague of mine ran into them having lunch in my neighborhood. You know what? He bumped into her by accident when he was with a client, Jake told me the following week, confirming what Amy had said when I asked her about it. They had made up the whole story in advance. What killed me was that while I was doing all this, Amy was the perfect girlfriend. She would put cute notes in my bag, cook my favorite meals, and never forget important dates. She even got my mom's secret Christmas cookie recipe and baked them to perfection. My parents adored her. My mom was already calling around to book a wedding venue. I'm sorry, Mom. Amy wasn't clingy. Not at all. She gave me space when I asked for it, which is why it was so hard for me to understand why she was so attached to Jake, especially since Jake had a girlfriend. I bought the rings when I was 8 months pregnant. I took Jake with me to the jewelry store, introducing him as an expert on women's preferences thanks to his clients at the gym. There was one strange thing about my birthday party. Amy showed up at a modest house party wearing a dress that was way too fancy. She walked past Jake several times to make sure he noticed her outfit, then bumped into him in the kitchen. My friend Chris noticed and said, "I don't feel right about this." I was also very protective of them. They were like brothers to me, and Chris was paranoid. Amy started getting ready for the gym like it was a photo shoot, full makeup, matching workout clothes, obsessively doing her hair. She said she wanted to look professional because she was going to meet Jake's friend. She bought new workout clothes because Jake told her you had to maintain a certain image at the gym. We went on a couple of double dates with Jake and his girlfriend, Lisa. After that, Amy was sullen and quiet, blaming her anger on stress at work or school. Lisa noticed how Amy often looked at Jake, but I didn't think anything of it, saying she was just a distracted student. Amy's behavior changed 6 months ago. She started acting distant. She never responded to messages and canceled dinners, saying she had to study or work late. But I saw her selfies from the gym on Instagram on those very days. She was glued to her phone and would jump up if I approached her from behind while she was texting. She always looked at the screen and carried it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Once it fell out of her pocket, and I picked it up to give it back to her, but she snatched it out of my hands before I could return it. She said it had work emails she didn't want me to see. She stopped making plans with me. Instead, her obsession with the gym intensified. She went every day, sometimes twice a day, always when Jake was there. She said he was the only trainer who understood what she wanted to achieve. She came home late with wet hair, claiming she had already showered at the gym so she could go to her class. Jake also became more distant. Suddenly, he stopped texting me and skipped our weekly basketball game for clients. But I saw him posting stories from bars and other places I wasn't invited to. Amy wasn't a public person, but they weren't in any of the photos together. I was at a work party, and Amy was always supposed to be at these parties. She always wanted to be there because it was good for my career. But 30 minutes before, She texted that she had a migraine and couldn't make it. I was a little bummed because my boss wanted to see her again, but I didn't think much of it. People get sick, right? I was alone at the party when a colleague told a story from the gym that his girlfriend had told him. Amy and Jake were pretending to work out in the corner. I once emailed Amy to ask if she was looking for workout material that could replace the legendary quote. I asked Amy, I want fan fiction where he tells Heath that it helped her get rid of her migraines and that he did her a favor by training her at the last minute. She was mad at me for not taking care of her health. She looked different too, no longer the coffee shop club type. Now she wore tight leggings, crop tops, and bright sportswear. She said it was more comfortable than the flippers, but really, she was just doing it to be a star. Finally, about 2 months ago, the House of Horrors came crashing down. I received a message from an anonymous person on my phone, a private message from an Instagram user named, Instagram user. The message said that the sender had proof that Amy and Jake had been in a relationship for several months, with photos and videos to back it up. At first, I didn't believe it. I sent Jake a message, and he told me it was fake, a joke. Amy was crying on the phone, begging me to believe her. But curiosity got the better of me. I hacked into Instagram and saw the messages Amy and Jake had been exchanging. They were planning a secret meeting and laughing at how stupid I was. In the photos, they were kissing, holding hands, sneaking into hotel rooms. And those photos were sold, taken out of Deauville in suitcases, and greedily published in the U.S. I was devastated, enraged, furious. Amy made Jake confess. He said he had stopped loving me a long time ago, but didn't want to hurt me by telling me. Jake apologized, saying he was very sorry for hurting me. I told them both to get out of my life. But I didn't stop there. I did what these money-grubbing bastards do. I used my financial skills, talked to one of the fancy lawyers in my circle, and exposed them to the same circle of con artists. The owner fired Amy from the coffee shop after hearing her lies and learning about her secret relationship with one of his clients. A mutual friend who works out with Jake at the gym loses several clients when they find out about his transgression. I didn't feel good about getting revenge, but it helped me regain some of my dignity. The aftermath. A true story of love, loss, and moving forward. Now, several months later, my life is dedicated to myself, my work, my family, and healing my wounds. If this sounds like your situation, I know this to be true. The pain subsides and the strength grows. You're hallucinating, Jake said, and then Lisa stepped in, defending him as she always did. Jake wouldn't do that to you. She shook her head as if it were a huge misunderstanding. He just goes on and on about how perfect you and Amy are for each other. I breathed a sigh of relief, but immediately felt my stomach churn at the thought that these two bullies would spend the whole summer laughing at me, laughing at nothing. Because the truth was, I felt like a complete idiot, like I had thrown away my relationship for no reason. Maybe I was being paranoid, but maybe it was just gym talk. All this time, Amy had been telling me that I was ruining everything we had built because of my jokes, but I couldn't shake this nagging suspicion. I felt like something was wrong. Her defensive manner of speaking at the cafe, the sudden change in her behavior, texts that weren't suspicious as such, but just seemed strange. I couldn't figure out what was going on. If it wasn't deliberate manipulation, then I was a drama queen. Leaving us baffled by their complete inadequacy, the story took on a whole new level of weirdness. The next day, Amy turned into a she-wolf. She adored me like she hadn't in years, and suddenly needed me to be around all the time. She wrote me long messages about our future and what we would be doing in a few months, but then she would slip up. Her body would tense up noticeably when someone mentioned Jake's name, or she would completely change the subject if the conversation turned to the gym. She even quit the gym and promised to block Jake everywhere if it would make me feel safe, insisting that she only loved me. Jake was even more Machiavellian. He started inviting me to everything: the gym, group hangouts, planning vacations for couples with me, Amy, and Lisa. Then Maria, a girl I work with, texted me and said she felt bad that she hadn't said anything. It turned out that Amy had been taking long lunch breaks on purpose so she wouldn't run into Jake. Maria showed me screenshots of Amy's work calendar, which had meetings marked that she never had. When I showed the screenshots to Amy, she completely lost it, burst into tears, and said that she didn't expect anything else from Maria, that Maria had always been jealous of her, and that I was ruining everything by refusing to believe her. She even asked her friends to write to me saying that I was controlling and insulting them by spying on them. Jake played his part perfectly, expressing concern for me and saying that I probably needed to see a psychologist because of my trust issues. Lisa echoed Jake's complaints about my paranoia. They all made me feel crazy for questioning anything. And the worst part? Some of our friends sided with them, saying I was just overreacting to some harmless flirting at the gym. One friend even said, "Even if it was true, maybe you should just forgive and move on?" What? I almost believed I had made it all up, but then I got the gym surveillance footage from another trainer, Mike. I just wanted to see if I was losing my mind. The video showed Amy sneaking into Jake's training room after midnight when the gym was closed. She would stay there for 2 or 3 hours, and then she would be led out, red-faced and distraught. This happened several times a week. When I asked Amy again why our roommate needed donuts, she said they were at training camp and hinted that I was twisting her healthy obsession with fitness. Jake defended her, saying they had a lot of people who came after work to train individually. His wife even defended him, saying Jake was too professional to flirt with clients. They convinced everyone I was crazy. Of course, I knew it was complete nonsense. That night, I sat in my car for 2 hours just thinking. It was a revelation. I didn't care anymore if they were really having an affair. The trust was gone, destroyed. I wanted to scream when I heard Amy slander my name. I was turning into the person I hated, looking at phones, reviewing surveillance footage, interrogating others. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus on work. Every notification of a new message made me jump. And at that moment, I said to myself, "Okay, no." I wrote to Amy to break up with her. I told her I couldn't be with someone I didn't trust anymore. I blocked her without waiting for a response. I blocked Jake, too, without explaining myself. I asked the concierge not to let them into my apartment. 3 days after the official breakup, I received an email from an unknown address. It was just a link to a folder in Google Drive. I was about to delete it, thinking it was spam, but then I saw the subject line, "Proof of Jake and Amy's relationship." I clicked on the link. At that point, I had nothing to lose. Guys, it was the best folder ever. Hundreds of screenshots of Jake's private messages with his friends from the gym over more than a year. Videos from the gym security cameras. Recordings of their conversations in the office. It seems Mike wasn't the only trainer who was feeling his age and suspected something was up. The messages showed that Jake had loved Amy from the day I brought her to the office. He wrote to his friends about how much he needed her, how much it hurt to see her with me. The guy kept track of her gym schedule and went there at the same time she did. The craziest part? Amy wasn't the one who was pursuing him, as she had been telling her friends. Jake had been leading her on the entire time. He would tell her, "He doesn't know you like I do. We have something special." Classic manipulator tactics. There were messages where he bragged about making Amy hate me. He made up scenarios where I was constantly flirting with women at work and then comforting Amy when she got upset. Then he laughed with his friends about how he had stolen his best friend's girlfriend. The surveillance camera footage was even worse. Jake would circle around Amy at the gym, making up excuses to help her or check her form. He got jealous when other trainers talked to her and asked the manager to let him know when Amy arrived. Jake was a master double agent. He wrote me long messages on WhatsApp highlighting Amy's inappropriate behavior and making her out to be the villain. "They didn't tell me what that meant," he bragged to his friends, describing how he had fun while I was trying to figure everything out. Lisa was completely in the dark, and Jake would leave her in the middle of the night to text Amy about how much he wanted her. He would come to the gym and show all his friends videos of Amy working out, which she didn't know about. In the group chat, when they were planning his proposal to Lisa, he referred to her as his future wife. I discovered that Jake had done this before. The messages hinted that it was easier for him this time because, as my best friend, he could easily hide his actions. He did the same thing with other friends' girlfriends, first gaining their trust by being a good, supportive friend, and then, very slowly, stabbing them in the back. Amy wasn't innocent either. It was clear from the messages that she eventually gave in, enjoying the attention and drama. But Jake was the main instigator. The email was anonymous and from Jake's ex, who had been with him before Lisa. She said she had tried to warn the other girls, but he had turned everything around and made her look jealous and crazy. She had been gathering evidence for months after she caught him with Amy. I sent it all to Lisa. She deserved to know what kind of person she was protecting. The image of Jake as the perfect coach was a lie. He wasn't even a hard-working guy. He used her dad's connections at the gym to attract clients, then slept with their girlfriends. The worst part was that I trusted him, not as a gym buddy, but as a friend. I defended him when others called him arrogant. I let him train Amy for the simple reason that he supported me. He smiled at me while he was behind my back stalking my girlfriend, so that's nice to hear. All the signs I had ignored now seemed so obvious, and looking back, I felt like a fool. It wasn't just about Amy. It was about realizing that my supposed friend had been deceiving me. 2 full workdays passed, and after I provided the evidence Lisa requested, I still hadn't heard a word. Then suddenly, my phone lit up with notifications. Lisa exploded. She posted everything on her gym's social media. Every screenshot, every disgusting message Jake had sent Amy, every disgusting joke he had made about his female clients. Jake's perfect image was shattered. Soon after, all of his women left him. It turned out that he had been secretly filming their workouts, which is completely illegal. Lisa's father shut down Jake's account that same day and banned him from all of their gyms. And the best part? Amy found out the truth. Lisa sent her all the messages Jake had sent her, mocking her and saying how easy she was to manipulate, that he was laughing at her for believing he would leave Lisa. Screenshots of him bragging about stealing another friend's girlfriend for his trophy wall. Amy went crazy, a complete breakdown. She went to Jake's house, screaming about their soul love. Security had to remove her from the apartment twice. She would write long rants on Instagram until Jake's lawyer made her stop. This is where it gets completely insane. I started getting messages from Jake's old friends, and apparently he did the same thing to the girlfriends of 3 other friends, playing the role of the caring best friend, manipulating them and dumping them when he got caught. He had a whole system. He would pick friends with beautiful girlfriends who were insecure in some way, and it went something like this. Amy is insecure about leaving her creative center and coming into my financial world. He was the understanding friend, convincing you that your boyfriend was holding you back and instilling that insecurity in you. Lisa handled it like a boss. She filed a police report about the secret recordings, warned mutual friends, and told Jake about his past at his new gym. Last week, she even invited me out for coffee so we could compare notes. It was weird seeing Lisa at first, but it went great. We spent hours talking about the red flags we didn't notice, and then we went out to dinner. There's definitely something there, but we're trying not to make it too obvious. We both need to recover from this madness. Amy isn't doing very well. She apologized to me in a long letter, saying it was all fake, but the screenshots showed she was pretty into the drama. She's working at her parents' store now, because everyone she used to work with knows what happened. Jake got hit on all fronts. His horse training license was revoked because of the secret recordings. His friends from the gym dropped him after Lisa told them everything. He tried to get back into the gym, but the owner's daughter stumbled upon Lisa's posts and fired him on the spot. What's even crazier is that now even more girls are coming forward. Jake has been doing this shit for years, just making up lies, creating drama, and literally breaking friendships, relationships for fun. Here's what I would say. Trust your instincts. Don't trust someone just because they have a title. If something feels wrong, don't write it off as crazy. You know, people like Jake are pros at smiling to your face, pretending they care, and then posting photos of your arrested children on Facebook. They will break you if you give them the chance. I'm still healing, but the truth is better than lies. Amy, Jake, Lisa, I've learned what trust, friendship, and betrayal are, and I'm not going to let the manipulators win.